Hey guys, today I wanted to talk a bit about the state of free farming in the game, as well as how you can get the most out of free farming. And I'm going to be sharing some of my stats, as well as the stats of one of my subscribers who kindly shared their stats to me. And also, I'll be giving some extra tips which might be useful at the end of the video. So first of all, let's just define what free farming actually is, in case you haven't heard that term before. So if we take a look at the difficulties we have in the game, currently the highest difficulties we can play are Inferno 2 and Inferno 3. So for Inferno 2, the equipment drops at Paragon level 400 plus, and for Inferno 3, the Paragon level required is 500 plus to equip the items. So pre-farming just means that basically, while I haven't reached the Paragon level, so let's say right now my Paragon level is 404, obviously I haven't reached Paragon level 500, so I'm not able to equip the items from Inferno 3, but I can actually start playing on Inferno 3. The game will prompt me that this is a higher difficulty than what's recommended. And actually, if you check your combat rating, you'll be able to see if you're able to play this difficulty or not. And you can see that right now I have 400 points above this minimum required combat rating for this difficulty. So I'm actually still able to play this difficulty and farm the items, which, as you can see, this is what I've done here. So I've got a few items already, and I've also got a few set items here. So this is what pre-farming means. It's basically you're farming a difficulty which is higher than basically what you can equip. And the benefit of this is that once you actually end up reaching the Paragon level 500 in this case, you'll actually be able to equip these items directly and already have a chance at playing the next difficulty, and basically you'll be able to get ahead of other players in the game and just be a bit more powerful once you actually reach the required Paragon level. So we can kind of split pre-farming into two parts. So you've got two types of gear. You've got your legendary orange gear, and then you've got your green set items here. So let's start off with talking about how you can pre-farm the green set items. So since I've just switched to Inferno 3, if I were to run any dungeons or any random dungeons, then I would actually get a Paragon level 500 drops, and I can outright get good items just from farming this. Or if I don't like the items that I get, I could always go to the blacksmith. So let's just quickly go to the blacksmith here. And if I were to salvage one of these items, as you can see, let's just pick this one here, you're actually going to get a Fabled Wisp, which is level Inferno 3, and every 5 of these that you farm, you'll be able to craft one item. So I'm sure that most of you already know this, and you just basically spam dungeons as much as you can before the new difficulty, and gather as many wisps as you can, and then craft the items that you need, or the set pieces that you're missing. So that's really simple to explain. So now that we've talked about set item pre-farming, let's move on to talk about legendary item pre-farming. So for legendary items, it used to be that there was only one way to pre-farm them, and that was just to farm in the open world. So just like with set items, you set your difficulty to the next difficulty, and then just probably find a group and run open world farming. Each person has their own favorite spots to run. But recently we've had another option added to the game, which actually gives a lot more legendaries per hour, which I think a lot of you already know about, which is the Terra Essence Oblivion Pillars or Hellslayer bounties. The downside to them is that you have to spend the Terra Essence, which you can only farm in Terra Rifts, or you'd have to buy it from the market. I remember back when the game first released in June 2022, I saw this tweet by Wyatt Cheng where he basically said that he was upfront in the interviews that he gave, and that the pay to win would only apply to the legendary gems and wouldn't apply to the gear, which is the 12 item slots. And of course, back in the day, we didn't have the bracelet slots or the extra 2 slots here. So by the 12 slots, he basically meant these 6 slots here and also the top 6 slots here. So admittedly, 2 years down the line, we still can't directly buy legendary items or set items through any kind of currency like platinum or eternal orbs. But what you can do is buy Terra Essence directly from the market. So most of the time this is actually sold out because I assume whales are buying it. But as you can see here, there's actually a few people selling these for 400 platinum on my server. So whales can basically just buy eternal orbs and use those to buy the Terra Essence, and you basically fast track the amount of legendaries that you get. So it's kind of a sneaky way to basically sell us the gear without directly selling us the gear. So don't get me wrong, this isn't going to be a video where I just shit all over the game and talk about how pay to win it is. I'm sure that there's a lot of players that still enjoy the game, myself included. Even with the pay to win mechanics that we have, it's still a fairly enjoyable game, and I wouldn't be making videos if I really hated the game. I will be kind of critical though about one thing, which is that the description for this Terra Essence and how this whole system works has been super confusing for players, and once again this description has actually been changed again. So actually this is the 3rd time I believe where this description has been changed. So let's just read what the Terra Essence description currently says. So it says, used to start an Oblivion Pillar which has a chance to award eternal equipment, can also be used to create Hellslayer bounties, and the chance to find eternal equipment is increased for the first 70 Oblivion Pillars within a week. So what this means is that basically there's a system in place where after the first 70 Oblivion Pillars that you do in a week, the mobs within the Oblivion Pillar actually become enraged, and it becomes really difficult to actually clear it. And I think even whales would struggle to clear the Oblivion Pillars. I'll be showing some gameplay which was shared by one of my subscribers, but basically it becomes really hard after the first 70 that you do in a week to actually clear these and get some gear. So I think that they've added this system in place so that whales don't get too far ahead, and you're still able to stay fairly competitive in terms of the legendary gear that you have as a regular player or a low/mid spender. So the problem is that if we look at the Terra Essence description from a month ago, and actually covered this in another video, it actually reads, it's used to start the Oblivion Pillar, which has a chance to reward eternal equipment, can also be used to create Hellslayer bounties. So this part is the exact same. But then the second part changes completely. So it says that the chance to find eternal equipment increases when you have run 70 or more Oblivion Pillars in a week. This is completely incorrect, and I think that it's always been wrong, but they've actually just corrected it now. So they haven't actually changed how it works. It's just it was wrong before how the description said it, and now they've corrected it. But the problem is that it's completely the opposite. So now with the correct description, it says that within the first 70 you have an increased chance. Whereas with the old description, it says that if you've run 70 or more, that's when you have the increased chance. So this definitely isn't the first time that we've had a problem like this, at least in the English version of the game, where the description is completely wrong and it's actually the opposite of what it's trying to say. So this is really frustrating because players are actually spending their money based off some of these descriptions, and when they try to run certain things, they see that it's the complete opposite of what it's trying to say. So it's especially the worst when this applies to the legendary gems. So I don't want to go on a tangent and go too far off topic, but in the past, there was a problem with the Blessing of Worthy description, and they fixed it. So it used to say that it does damage based off the maximum life that you have. And the way it was working in the game is that it was doing damage based off the current life that you had. So they corrected the text. They didn't actually change the functionality. The functionality was working as intended, but it was just the text that was completely wrong. But basically doing damage based off the maximum life versus the current life is actually quite a huge difference. So obviously players were completely outraged at this, and there wasn't any compensation offered. But at least it was mentioned by the community managers, and it was mentioned in the patch notes. So I guess that was a positive, to give them credit. But it seems like in this case, it's kind of been swept under the rug, and it hasn't been mentioned in any patch notes. And I can kind of see why they don't really want to have any community outrage. But I kind of wanted to mention that in this video because I was kind of frustrated that they did this. I myself ended up buying some of these Terra Essence in the market because I really wanted to test and show you guys how it behaved after the 70 Oblivion Pillars in the week. So let's just put the pitchforks away for a second, and I'll share with you guys some of the data that I have, which is what makes me think that the current description of the Terra Essence is at least somewhat correct. So I was actually lucky that one of my subscribers came forward to me who actually happened to have more than 70 of the Terra Essence saved up, and they actually wanted to run them and share some of the information with me. So I want to give a huge shout out to TheWickerman, and I want to thank him for all of the footage that he shared with me, as well as all of the stats. And it was very helpful to have this insight because I didn't have Terra Essence saved up at the time. So with that said, let's take a look at some of the data that he shared. So he ran a total of 80 Oblivion Pillars in a week. So as you can see in this table, this was his stats for every day of the week. So on the first day, he ran 20 Oblivion Pillars and he got 12 legendaries. 3 of them were triple stat. On the second day, he also ran another 20 and he got another 12 legendaries. 4 of them were triple stat exceptional. And then on the third day, he ran 10 and he got 6 legendaries, 2 of them being triple stat exceptional. On the fourth day, he ran another 10, got 5 legendaries, 4 of them were triple stat exceptional. And then on the fifth day, finally, he ran 10 Oblivion Pillars and got 4 legendaries, and 3 of them were also triple stat exceptional. So from a total of 70 Oblivion Pillars, he had 39 legendaries. So that means that 55% of the time when he ran an Oblivion Pillar, he got a legendary. And from those, he got 16 total triple stat exceptionals. Some of them could have been 4 stat attribute also. So on average, it means that he dropped a triple stat item every 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 Oblivion Pillars. It's also worth noting that he got the Goblin Invasion event 2 times within the 80 Oblivion Pillars that he did. And this is what it looks like. I'm just showing an example of it. So when you open the Terra Rift, you don't get any mobs, you just get full goblins, and they drop gold. And once you've completed it, you actually get 6 reward chests. So that's really nice that you can get an event like this because it'll give you quite a lot of legendaries. So if you're not super familiar with Oblivion Pillars, there's usually 3 outcomes when you open one. You either get 4 waves of mobs, and when you kill the boss at the end, you're going to get 1 reward chest, or you can get 6 waves of mobs, and when you kill the boss, you're going to get 3 reward chests, or you can get this goblin event, and it won't spawn any mobs, you just have to kill the goblins, and when you do that, you're going to get 6 reward chests after you complete the event. So after he completed the first 70 Oblivion Pillars in the week, which I shared the stats for, he got this prompt when he tried to open the next Oblivion Pillar, which says that Terra Essence has reached its weekly limit, continuing will result in stronger monsters. So here's some of the gameplay for those Oblivion Pillars, and you'll be able to see very quickly that the monsters are actually enraged, so you can see them, they just move a lot faster, and they also deal a lot more damage. So bear in mind that he did these in Inferno 1. He actually went down from Inferno 2 to Inferno 1 because they were just impossible to clear on Inferno 2. But what you'll see is that even on Inferno 1, which is the same difficulty that he's playing at, they were incredibly difficult. And you can see that he's actually using a very good build because he's got the ice armor, which gives you 6 charges of immunity. So every time you use it, because of the Hailstone offhand essence, you're going to have 6 charges of immunity. But you can see that the boss here has a red color and is basically super enraged and just attacking like crazy. And his attack animations are really janky and don't really make sense, but you can see that he's attacking really fast. And the hitbox doesn't really make too much sense either. Even if it seems like you've dodged his attack, it still hits you somehow, and he actually ended up getting one shot here. So I'm going to show one more Oblivion Pillar here, where he also didn't manage to clear it, unfortunately, but he basically ran 10 Oblivion Pillars past the 70 weekly limit, and even though these are on Inferno 1, which is the same difficulty that his character level was at, they were still pretty impossible to clear. And even when he did clear them, so from 10 he actually managed to clear 4 of them, he didn't get any drops from the 4 Oblivion Pillars that he actually managed to clear. So now I'll show one of the Oblivion Pillar attempts that he was able to clear past the 70 weekly, and as you guys will be able to see at the end, the drops were pretty abysmal. So you can imagine that we were both pretty confused by this, because the old Terra Essence description from a month ago said that after the first 70 cleared during the week, you're going to have a higher chance of getting legendary eternal items, especially with higher attributes, but this wasn't the case because he actually got 0 drops from the 10. Granted, he only cleared 4 of them, but I would still expect to at least have seen 1 or 2 legendary drops. So you can see here just how cautiously he's playing with these last few mobs here, making sure that he's healed up when the boss spawns. And let's see which boss he gets here. So it looks like he got this Shade of Destruction, which isn't really that good of a boss. But you can see that he's playing very well and not really taking any damage because of his ice armor here. I can imagine that even with whales with an optimized build, this mode would be pretty hard to clear. You have to remember that he lowered the difficulty to match his Paragon level, which is Inferno 1, and it was still so challenging to clear. Probably only if you're like a Barbarian with the Undying Rage, or a Necromancer with the Bone Armor, it might be easier to clear those. But as you can see, he got nothing in terms of the drop. So I'll just show the end of another clear that he did, and you'll also be able to see that the drops were also really bad, and he didn't really get anything. So here we go. He almost died there, but thankfully his ice armor is back online now, and he just about managed to kill the boss there. And as you'll be able to see, nothing in terms of the rewards, just a couple of yellow items. So needless to say, it's definitely not recommended that you guys be running 70 plus Oblivion Pillars in a week. It's just not worth it at all. Even if you're able to clear them consistently, it's not worth it because the chance is actually lower, which is what the description now says in game. So like I said, I don't think they've actually changed the functionality. This is actually how it was working for the past month, but the description was incorrect and they've just gone back and fixed it without really telling anyone. So I'm going to move on now to talk about the most recent change which they made, which came in with the patch last week. So now we have this Terra Essence Codex task update, which says that the weekly Terra Essence Codex task can now hold up to 2 weeks of rewards and will no longer reset weekly. So I think that this is actually a really good change if I'm understanding it correctly. Now you can save up to 2 weeks of the reward, which is a triple or a 444 item guaranteed. So you can actually plan 2 weeks ahead before you reach Paragon 500 and not run any Terra Essence or Oblivion Pillars. And then when you reach Paragon 500, you can just claim those 2 weeks worth of rewards by running 20 Oblivion Pillars. And in that case, you're actually going to get 2 triple or 2 444 items in the new difficulty, which is really incredible. So to end the video, I'm going to summarize everything that I've talked about because I've went through a lot. And I'm also going to talk a bit about my plans for pre-farming. So from now until I reach Paragon 500, there's a few things which I'm going to do. And firstly, I'm going to be running only 10 Oblivion Pillars per week. And the reason for that is because I want to get the free triple triple or triple four item. Now, bear in mind that this will be an Inferno 2 item. But basically, I'm going to run 10 Oblivion Pillars every week until the week of the 7th of October. And the reason for that is on the 7th of October, the Paragon level is going to be 470, which is 30 levels under 500. And during that week, I'm only going to run 9 Oblivion Pillars because I don't want to claim the Codex task. And then when it comes to the next week, which is going to be the 14th of October, when the Silver Paragon level is going to be 480, which is 20 levels under 500. And this is usually the week that I reach my Paragon level 500. And during that week, I'm going to run 11 Oblivion Pillars, and this will give me 2 weeks worth of reward. But the important thing is that in the Codex, I'm actually going to be able to claim 2 Inferno 3 items, which are going to be triple triple or triple four, which, like I said, is really insane. So you guys can obviously adjust this plan to suit you. So if you're one of those players that usually reaches a week later than me, what you can do is you can actually push this plan back 1 week and basically start saving your Oblivion Pillars on the 14th of October. Maybe you can run only 9 so that you don't waste one of your rewards, and then on the week of the 21st you can run 11 to get those 2 weekly rewards. So other than that, I wouldn't really recommend you guys to be buying too much Terra Essence from the market. You can just run your Terra Rifts and get your Terra Essence from there. If you're really struggling to get 10 during the week, then you can buy them from the market, but I wouldn't really recommend you guys to buy too many of them and try to run the Enraged mode, which is running 70 plus in a week. It just isn't worth it at all, and you don't really get any drops like I showed. So other than that, you could always run Inferno 3 open world farming if you want to get a few more legendary items, but in my experience the drops aren't really the best, and you're actually going to be able to get most of your pre-farmed legendary items from running Inferno 3 Oblivion Pillars in this way that I've said. So you won't really have to run so much open world if you do this correctly. For the green set items, pre-farming is actually pretty simple. You just want to be running as many Inferno 3 dungeons from now until you reach Paragon 500 as you can, and you want to be salvaging the items to get your Inferno 3 wisps. And I'm actually going to recommend you guys to do this sooner rather than later. Once you've got a decent set for your Inferno 2 and you've actually reached the recommended combat rating for Inferno 3 dungeons, which is 39.5k, you want to be running your Inferno 3 dungeons straight away just so you're best prepared when Paragon 500 hits. So I'll quickly go over a few extra tips which will make sure that you guys have the best items when Paragon 500 comes around. So this is just something that you can do passively. It isn't really something that relates directly to pre-farming, but basically you have the Moonlight Flora. That's the first tip that I can give. So you'll notice that you've got these daily chests here, which you can do. These stack up to 3 days, so I wouldn't worry too much if you're not able to do them all on the same day. You've got these Flora here, and with those you can basically open the Rite of Cleansing, and you don't really want to be running this at all. You want to be saving it. You can save it all the way up to 99 excess Flora. You want to be running these when you actually reach Paragon 500. So you want to do that because you actually get wisps directly. So you can get 1 wisp from the Rite 1, and you can get 2 wisps from Rite 2 and 5 wisps from Rite 3. And these will be Inferno 3 wisps if you run them on Paragon 500. So they actually drop the wisps based off your character level. So if my character level now is 400, then I'm going to get Inferno 2 wisps. So aside from wisps, you actually do get at least a minimum of 1 legendary item from completing one of these rites, and that will also drop based off your Paragon level. So it's just really worth to just save these. So aside from that, the second tip I can give is to save up your mystery, legendary, and set item boxes here. You can see that I've got a few of these here, and these can drop from events. So let's just see, yeah, here, for example, we have the Adventurous Path. It drops 1 here, and you can just get a bunch of these from running some of the events tasks. I think you can also get a few here from the Trial of the Hordes. So you have 2 choices for these legendary boxes. You can either use them all when you do reach the new difficulty, or you can use them all when you switch class. Personally, I like to use them when I switch class because I haven't really had any good items from those boxes, but they're really useful for getting some of the essence that you're missing. So as for the third and final tip that I'm going to give in this video, is to save your gauntlet first clears. So this is actually my favorite way to level up. It's the last thing that I like to do to reach the level. So let's say that I am Paragon level 499, and I know that the gauntlet first clears give 2 million XP. I've already covered that on my channel. If I just check my XP, and I've reached 1.5 million out of the 3.5 million, so I have my 2 million XP left, I can clear one of these gauntlets here. Regardless if it's gauntlet 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't matter. It's actually going to give me the items based off my level. So if I actually use one of these gauntlets to reach the Paragon level 500, I'm actually going to get Inferno 3 items, and I think that you get 2 set items and also 3 legendary items, and they're all going to be exceptional. Most of the time they're going to be triple stat items, but some of the time they will be double stat. But this is just something that you can save passively, and it's a really great way to get good gear as soon as you've reached the new difficulty. So one thing which a few players have been asking me about when it comes to saving gauntlets is that they're worried about missing on the seasonal ranking reward. So as you can see here, we have the season 1 for the gauntlet, which ends on the 19th of August, so it's going to end in 2 days. And if we just look at the seasonal rewards, we can see what they look like. So we've got 1 to 75 will give you this portrait, which only lasts for 30 days, and then it will give you 1 set item, 1 legendary item, and a couple of scrap. And 76 plus basically gives you everything from rank 1 aside from the portrait and 1 of the legendary items. So personally, because this is a limited time portrait, I'm not really too fussed about missing out on this. I know a lot of people do like having the portrait, so you could always go for a ranking if you'd like, but personally I find it more useful to just save the gauntlets. You can see that you can actually still get a rank. I actually have a rank 200 plus, even though I haven't cleared a single gauntlet, and all you need to do that is just go into gauntlet 1 and clear the first boss, and then just simply click your portrait and click leave game, and this basically won't consume your first clear reward, but you will still place on the leaderboard, which is really nice because you will get a free set item. But that's basically the tip that I wanted to give. If you guys aren't too fussed about getting an extra legendary item and the limited time portrait, then I wouldn't worry too much about ranking in the top 75. I mean, it is always nice to go for this for a challenge, but personally I find it more useful to just save the first clear XP just so that I'm better prepared when the new difficulty rolls around. So that's about all that I wanted to share in this video, guys. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please do feel free to leave your comments below if I've missed anything in terms of pre-farming, or if you just want to share your thoughts about the whole Terra Essence and all the changes that they've been making recently. But for now, I'll be signing off, and I'll see you all in my next video. I do have a really interesting video planned for next time, and I'm going to be showing a bug which relates to the Eternal Gear. So if you don't want to miss out on that, please do remember to subscribe and also turn on notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.